Right. Good evening. Raise hand කරන්න මාව ඇහෙනවනම් පේනවනම්? Raise hand කරන්න මාව ඇහෙනවනම් පේනවනම්? Raise your hands if you guys can see me and hear me. Right. Okay. Hari. Today we got some little bit late because there were some studio setups were going. So let's start the class, right? So today we are going to start a new unit which is identified as the business organizations. And as I told you earlier, in your A-level syllabus, there are 18 units and already we have completed 3 units, and today we are going to start the unit number 4, right? Today we are going to start the unit number 4 and we have already completed 2 unit tests and already we have completed 1 term test. Today let's start the new lesson, unit number 4, which is identified as business organizations. Okay. So today is the first class in our studio, right? I think our normal class එක කරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා අද තමයි අපි fully ගත්තේ class එක අද ඉඳන්. So from today onwards you will learn through this studio setup until your exam, right? Until your exam. So hope all you will enjoy this one, right? So anyway, let's start the class. Let's start. So everyone write down the topic in your writing books. Business organizations. Everyone write down the topic in your writing books. Business organizations. Write down the topic business organizations. Write down the topic business organizations, unit number 4. Business organizations. Okay. Right. So Lamai, before discussing about the business organizations, first of all we are going to learn what is meant by an organization. What is meant by an organization? Organization. Just an organization, not the business organization. Na? Just an organization. Organization means what? Normally you are going to your school in every day, so that particular school is also identified as what? An organization. Your school is an organization. And you are going to a temple, you are going to your church, you are going to the mosque, right? So that is also an organization. That is also an organization. An example for organization. Sometimes you are a member of the youth club of your village. You are a member of the sports club of your village. So you are a participant of different societies. So that particular society is also an example for organization, right? So these are the examples for the organizations. When we are talking about the organizations, we have to learn about common features of an organization. When we are talking about the organizations, we have to learn about common features of an organization. Common features. Each and every organization having these features, okay? The number 1 feature is what? Have people. Every organization have people. People are there. So when you are going to the school, there are people. right? Principal is a person, teachers are people, right? So there are people, right? Involving people. Involving people. People are there within an organization. Having people. Not only that, within an organization, right? So there is a common feature. Every organization has a goal. Has a goal, common goal. So schools might have goals such as providing quality education, like that. So there can be a goal. There can be a goal to every organization. Hama organization ekakatama goal ekak tiyanawa, right? Third one. The third feature is what? Has a structure. Has a structure. So what is meant by a structure? Structure means, so there is a proper flow of flowing the authority and power within an organization. So look at your school. Principal should report to vice principal. Vice principal should report to sectional heads. Sectional heads should report to teachers. Like that, okay? So has a structure. As an example, principal should report to vice principal. Vice principal should report to sectional heads. Sectional heads. Sectional heads should report to teachers. Sectional heads should report to teachers. So every organization has a structure. Having people, has a goal, has a structure. So these are the common features of an organization. Every organization, if you are looking about every organization, you can see these features. Having people, involving people, has a goal, has a structure. Right. May take a superior terunana, raise hand karan. If you understood, raise your hands. If you understood perfectly, raise your hands, everyone. Raise your hands if you understood perfectly. Nice. Nice. Okay, so everyone, please note this down in your writing books. Please note this down in your writing books, everyone. Please note this down. Take some few minutes and note this down. Right. So how do you feel about our new class? New setup and everything? How do you feel about? How is the new setup and everything? Superb. Hari, okay. Great sir, super awesome. Superb sir, great sir. Okay. Nimai. Right. So this is about the business organization. Now we discussed about the organization, not the business organization. Okay. Not the business organization. We discussed just only about what? Organization. Okay. So I think we have posted your tudes, right? So there may be 4 to 5 students who didn't get the tudes yet, right? So they will receive their tudes as soon as possible, right? They will receive their tudes as soon as possible. So today let's go with the soft copy, right? And there is a special presentation too we have prepared. Okay, so let's go to the tude, everyone. So firstly, let's go to our presentation. Right, so let's see. Tude take up pick apart. So some students are having the tude, right? Right, let's see. Sir, shall I collect my tude from a physical class friend as usual? Yes, yes, you can. So that's the better method. Let's see. Introduction to business organization. Before studying about the business organization, firstly we need to know what is meant by an organization. Organization එක කියන මොකක්ද? In day-to-day life, you may know different type of organizations such as businesses, societies, temple, school. Therefore, organization can be identified as social unit made up with group of individuals. Made up with group of individuals joining together having a common goal. Joining together having a common goal. Joining together having a common goal. Right? There are three common characteristics of a formal organization as follows. So what are the common features? Has a goal. Has a goal. Schools are having an objective to give a quality education to the students. Number 2, involves individuals, principal, teachers, students and other staff are involving. Has an organization structure. In a school there is a proper structure as students should report to teachers, teachers should report to sectional heads, sectional heads should report to vice principal and vice principal should report to principal. So these are the three features of an organization. Has a goal, involve individuals, that means involve people. Next one is has an organizational structure. So that is about the organization. Now let's go to learn about business organization. Right. So look at this one. So what is a business organization now? What is a business organization now? Now, business organization can be defined like this. This is also an organization having people, having a structure, having a goal. All are there, same as like organization. But business organization is some kind of different. Let's see. Business organizations are the enterprises engaged in production. They are doing a particular production. Distribution. They are doing a particular distribution as well. Distribution. Once they produced, right? Once the goods are being ready to sell, they have to distribute. Distribution. And selling of goods. And selling. Production. This is an organization which involves in production, distribution, selling of goods and services with the objective of earning profits or social well-being. There are some businesses, right? There are some businesses, they are doing their businesses with the motive of profits. But there are some businesses, they are doing their businesses without the motive of profits. That means social welfare. That is social welfare. So this is the definition of the business organization. So this is also a normal organization, but the specialty is what? They are involving in production, distribution, selling with the motive of earning profits or not. So that is a business organization. Right. Okay. Now, we are going to learn about the classification of the business organizations. Classification of the business organization based on the ownership. Classification of the business organization based on the ownership. Classification of the business organization based on the ownership. Now let's learn about that one. Classification of business organization based on ownership. Classification of business organization based on ownership. Ownership means what? Who is the owner? Who is the owner? Right? So there can be businesses. There can be businesses There can be businesses which are owned by the people, owned by the normal people just like you and me. දැන් සමහරක් වෙලාවට දැන් මේ businesses තියෙනවා ඔයාට ඔයා මම වගේ සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සුන්ට අයිති ඒවා. Right? So there are some businesses which are owned by the normal people just like you and me. Right? සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සු ඔයා මම වගේ සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සුන්ට අයිති businesses තියෙනවා. Right? So the normal people. Owned by normal people. Owned by normal people. Just like you and me. Right? So let's take examples. Cool Planet is owned by a person just like you and me. Leisure World is owned by a normal person just like you and me. Apple Company, Apple, owned by a person, normal person just like you and me. Right? EconBiz, owned by myself, normal person. So these kind of businesses are known as what? These kind of businesses are known as what? Private sector businesses. Private sector businesses. These are the private sector businesses. Private sector. Right? If a particular business is owned by a normal person just like you and me, so that is what? That is the private sector business organization. That is a private sector. Now, there are some businesses which are owned by the government. Which are owned by the government. There are some businesses which are owned by the government. Government එකට අයිති ඒවා, which are owned by the government. If a particular business is owned by the government in Sri Lanka, there are some businesses which are owned by the government. So let's take Sri Lanka Railway Department, owned by the government. Sri Lanka Printing Department, owned by the government. Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, owned by the government. So like that, there are some businesses which are owned by the government. So these particular businesses are known as what? Public sector businesses. These are what? Public sector businesses. Public sector businesses. Public sector businesses. Therefore, based on the ownership, businesses can be divided into two parts, private sector and public sector. Private sector are the businesses which are owned by the normal people just like you and me. Public sector businesses means what? The businesses which are owned by the government. Okay, so this is the classification of the businesses based on the ownership. Ownership means what? අයිතිය. කාටද අයිති? කවුද අයිතිකාරයා? Right, okay. ලස්සන නැඳගන්න මේක. ලස්සන නැඳගන්න writing book එකේ. Okay. Now, ළමයි, let's learn about the classification of the businesses based on the ownership now. Right. Look at this one. Look at this one. Right. Now, business organization based on the ownership. Business organization based on the ownership. So there are businesses which are called as the private sector. There are businesses which are called as the public sector. Private sector and public sector. Under the private sector, you are going to learn about in detail about sole proprietorships, and you are going to learn about the partnerships. You are going to learn about the incorporated companies, and you are going to learn about the cooperative societies. You are going to learn about the cooperative societies. So these are private sector. So now we are not going to discuss about these things in detail. Today anyway we are starting the sole proprietorship and we will finish off that part. Today we will finish off that part. The sole proprietorship part we will finish off. Right? Today we will complete that one. So on the next days, on the following days, we will do these partnerships, incorporated, cooperative societies, like that. We will do these things. So now let's come to the public sector. Once came to the public sector, you can clearly see that there are businesses which are owned by the central government. There are businesses which are owned by the provincial councils. There are businesses which are owned by the local authorities. You learn this under unit number 3 also. You learn this under the unit number 3 also. Under the unit number 3, I explained to you, if you can remember, the government of a country, especially in Sri Lanka, the government of Sri Lanka can be divided into 3 parts. The government of the Sri Lanka can be divided into 3 parts. Central government, provincial council, the final one is local authority. Local authority. Central government, provincial council and local authority. දැන් මේක අර සිංහලයේ කියද්දි කට්ටියට දන්නවා දැන් ගොඩක් කට්ටිය දැන් මේ central government කියන්නේ අර මධ්‍යම රජය කියන එක. මධ්‍යම රජය means the parliament. Provincial council means පළාත් සභා. Local authority means what? Pradeshia Sabha, Nagara Sabha, those things. So the government can be divided into 3 parts. Like that, businesses owned by the government also can be divided into 3 parts. Businesses under central government, businesses under provincial council, businesses under local authority. 3 parts are there. Okay? Right. However, the businesses under the central government can be further divided into 3 parts: departments, state corporation, state companies. Departments, state corporations and state companies. Okay? Hari. However, raise your hands if you haven't done the commerce for your O levels. O level වලට commerce කරපු නැති අය උස්සන්න බලන්න. O level වලට commerce කරපු නැති අය ඉන්නවා නම් අත උස්සන්න බලන්න. There are some students, right? Okay. Right, the students who did commerce for their O levels, right? Matakada, did you learn about? You learned about sole proprietorships. The same you learned in O levels, we have to discuss under this lesson. The same you learned in O levels are there to discuss in A levels as well regarding sole proprietorships. But with regarding to partnerships, with regarding to incorporated companies, with regarding to cooperative societies, right? You learned only 2 or 3 pages in O levels, but in A levels you have to learn a huge part, right? O level කාලේ මොනවද තිබ්බේ කියලා හිතේ. In O level times you learned only 2 or 3 pages, right, during your O level time. But in A levels you have to learn a huge part. You have to learn a huge part. With regarding partnerships, you are going to learn a lot of new things. With regarding incorporated companies, you are going to learn a lot of new things, because incorporated companies is the huge part of this lesson, right? Most biggest part. and you have to learn about cooperative societies in detail, and you have to learn about state departments, state corporations, and state companies in detail, right, in A levels. That's why we are calling for A levels as advanced level. For your O levels we called as what? Ordinary level. So there are some students still they are thinking about their O level result and getting worried. Right? Getting too much happiness, getting too much worry, both are not good for your health regarding your O level results. So assume you are being too much happy about your O level result. So that is not a good thing. You are being too much worrying about your O level result. That is also not good. That is also not good. Right? Because in the A levels you are going to learn a lot of new things. Not only that, within this lesson you are going to learn about regarding the businesses such as what? KFC, McDonald's, right? And Burger King. You are going to learn about these businesses. You are going to learn about these businesses, right? Franchises. And you are going to learn what is meant by a business acquisition. One business is going and acquiring another one. එක business එකක් ගිහලා තව business එකක් acquire කරගන්නවා. Right? So you are going to learn that one. Not only that, you are going to learn how one business is merging with another business. Like that, lot of new things you will learn. Okay? So thereby, lot of interesting parts will be there to discuss, right? So let's discuss one by one properly, right? However, Hari, now මතකෙන් කියන්න බලන්න, මතකෙන් කියන්න බලන්න හැමෝම. Tell me the classification of the businesses based on the ownership. Private sector, public sector. Tell me the private sector businesses we are going to learn. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies, cooperative societies. Tell me again. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies, cooperative societies. And tell me the three main classifications of the public sector businesses. Businesses owned by central government, businesses owned by provincial councils, businesses owned by local authorities. Okay? And businesses owned by central government can be further divided into three parts: state departments, state corporations, state companies. Okay, so these are the things we are going to learn one by one. Firstly, we are going to learn what? Firstly, we are going to learn about sole proprietorships. Firstly, we are going to learn about sole proprietorships. So let's learn properly. Sole proprietorships. Type 1 we are going to learn now. Type 1 we are going to learn now. Type 1 we are going to learn now. Hurry. Sole proprietorships. So let's learn one by one. Sole proprietorship is a business organization. Sole proprietorship is a business organization. Sole proprietorship is a business organization which has only one owner. Which has only one owner. Which has only one owner. Sole proprietorship is a business organization. There is only one owner. There is only one owner. Tomorrow you will start a business. If you are the only owner, you started what? Sole proprietorship. Right? The nearest retail shop in your village, one Mudalali is there. One Mudalali is there. One owner, sole proprietorship. EconBiz, owned by myself. One owner, sole proprietorship. So like that, if there is only one owner, that is called as what? A sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. Okay. So have you heard this one? Have you heard this sentence, everyone? Look at this. I am going to write that in the board. Have you heard this one? Sole proprietorships are having an unlimited liability. Sole proprietorships are having unlimited liability. Have you heard about that one? Have you heard about that one? Raise your hands if you have heard about that one. Sole proprietorships are having unlimited liability. Sole proprietorships are having unlimited liability. Raise your hands if you have heard that one. Perfect. Right? Now, I am going to explain this one to you. What is mean by unlimited liability and everything. Okay? Right. So everyone, write down a topic in your writing book. Write down a topic in your writing book. Explaining the concept of unlimited liability. Explain the concept of unlimited liability. Explain the concept of unlimited liability. Explaining the concept of unlimited liability through sole proprietorships. Explaining the concept of unlimited liability through sole proprietorships. Explaining the concept of unlimited liability through sole proprietorships. Explaining the concept of unlimited liability through sole proprietorships. Okay, so let's take an example and let's explain this unlimited liability concept by using a perfect example. Right, so make your 100% attention to the class because this one is not easy that much. Right. Now, there is a business. There is a business. Now there is an owner. Now this owner invested 100,000 rupees to his business. 100,000 rupees to his business. Now, if you are doing accounting as your subject, you know that once the owner invested a particular money to start his business, this is known as what? This is known as the capital. Capital of the business. This is known as the capital of the business. This is known as capital of the business. The thing you have to understand is what? Once he started his business by investing only 100,000, this 100,000 will not be enough. This 100,000 is not only enough. මේ 100,000 මදි වෙනවා ටික දවසක් යද්දි. So thereby this business decides to not decide, let's take obtain a loan. This business obtain a bank loan. Obtain a loan of 600,000 rupees. Obtain a loan of 600,000 rupees. So this is the value of the loan. Unfortunately, once after he obtained the loan, a disease came just like a COVID-19. දැන් මෙයාට ඕනි වුණා එයාගේ බිස්නස් එක එක්ස්පෑන්ඩ් කරලා ඒ දේවල් ටික කරගන්න. ඒ නිසා එයා ලෝන් එකක් ගත්ත ලක්ෂ 6ක 600,000 වල. ලෝන් එක ගත්ත ගමන් ඔන්න එකපාරට ආව ඩිසීස් එකක් just like the COVID-19. Just like the COVID-19, a disease came to the country. Disease came to the country. The full hallmark. Why? Just after obtain the loan, COVID-19 came. COVID-19 came. Right? Now what happened? Now, entire country locked down, no sales in the business, he just obtained the loan. Right? After some time, this person decided, lockdown එක ඉවර වෙන පාටක් නෑ. So this person decided to discontinue his business activities, to close down his business. This person decided to close down his business. දැන් මෙයාට පුළුවන් ද මෙහෙම මම මගේ බිස්නස් එක වහන්න යන්නේ ඒක නිසා දැන් මම මේ ලෝන් එක ඉතින් ගත්තා මට ගෙවා ගන්න විදියක් නැහැ ඒ නිසා මම ඔන්න ඔය ලෝන් එක තියෙන්න අරලා නිකන් ඉන්නවා. He can't do that. He has to settle this loan now because he is going to close down the business. Now he has to settle the loan, otherwise bank will come and seize his properties. Now he is going to settle this loan. When he is looking a way to pay off this loan, he realized that there is 100,000 rupees of cash in this business which was invested as his capital. Now what's the thing he is doing? He is using this 100,000 to settle this loan. So what is this? This is the capital. What is this? This is the capital. Capital he used to settle this loan. Now another 500,000 rupees is there of the loan to settle. Another 500,000 rupees is there to settle the loan. Now what's the thing he is doing again? Now he is going to close down this business. No, he is going inside to this business and looking, are there any properties within this business? Are there any properties inside this business which can be sold? business එක ඇතුළට ගිහලා බලනවා business එක ඇතුළේ විකුණන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් තියෙනවද කියලා. දැන් වහන්න යන්නේ business එක. Within the business there are some machines, air conditions, ACs, right? There are some equipments which can be sold. Right? Now what's the thing this person is doing? Now this person is selling those properties. Right? Now that person is selling those properties. By selling those properties, that person could be able to find another 300,000 rupees. And that 300,000 rupees also used to settle this loan. So this 300,000 came from what? By selling business properties. By selling business properties, he got another 300,000. Now how much is there to settle from the loan? 200,000. Another 200,000 is there. He used his capital to settle the part of the loan. He used the money which got from selling the properties, 300,000. Another 200,000 is there. Now what is the only option he has? He has to bring his private money. He has to bring his private properties to settle this one. Now he is going to his home. So there is 200,000 in his locker. Now he is bringing that 200,000 and settling this loan. Now no loan balance is there. This 200,000 came from what? Personal properties. Personal assets. Personal assets. Now what's the thing you can conclude? Owner, when starting the business, invested 100,000. Later he obtained a loan of 600,000. Right? Due to the lockdown, due to the disease, he decided to close down the business. Now he used 100,000, this initial capital, to settle his loan. Another 500,000 was there. He sold his business properties and obtained another 300,000. Another 200,000 was there. He used his private properties at the end. Look at this scenario. He used his private properties as well. He used his personal assets as well to settle the loans. Look at that incident. So that is identified as unlimited liability. So thereby, what is meant by unlimited liability? The liability of the owner is not limited only to the capital invested by that respective owner. Right? So listen again. The liability of the owner is not limited only to the capital invested. දැන් මෙතන ownerට ownerගේ liability එක 100,000 වලට විතරයිද limit උනේ. ownerට පුළුවන්කමක් තිබ්බද 100,000 විතරක් මේ loan එකෙන් settle කරලා මාරු වෙලා යන්න? බෑ. After settling this 100,000, another 500,000 was there. So that was settled in this kind of things. Right? If you started a sole proprietorship tomorrow, if you are not being able to settle the loans, right? You also should do this thing. You also should bring your personal assets to settle this loan if the business assets are not enough. If the business assets are not enough, you have to bring your personal assets as well. So that is called as what? Unlimited liability concept. So what is meant by unlimited liability? The liability of the owner is not limited only to the capital invested. Only to the capital invested. ඔයා දාපු capital එකට විතරක් නෙමෙයි ඔයාගේ liability එක limit වෙන්නේ. ඔයාට ණය ටික ගෙවා ගන්න බැරි වුණොත් ඔයාට ඔයාගේ ගෙදර සල්ලිත් අරගෙන එන්න වෙනවා. So this is a disadvantage. This is a disadvantage of a sole proprietorship. This is a disadvantage. This is a demerit. Demerit of a sole proprietorship. This is a demerit. Therunane? Okay. Raise your hands if you understood perfectly. Perfectly understood? Raise your hands. Raise your hands if you perfectly understood. Nice. Chat එකේ දාන්නකෝ feedback එක. How was the class today? Are you feeling bored? Boring. right. So are there any students no, the class is superior sir. No sir, very interesting, not even feeling sleepy, super active sir. Nice. Right. ළමයි මේක ලියා ගන්න ලස්සනට. Write this one perfectly. අද online class එකට අලුතෙන් join වෙච්ච අය raise hand කරන්න බලන්න. අද අලුතෙන් ආව අය. Day 1 day 1. Day 1 students are there? Day 1. Right, okay. Right. So how was the class everyone? Newcomers? Newcomers, how is the class? So the chat box is open for you as well. After the class, make sure to get added to our group, right? Lamai, we will prepare a separate group for the full time online, right? Separate group for the full time online. So we will add you to the group, right? We will add you to that group, and we will send a invitation link. And the newcomers, අද අලුතෙන් ආව අය මට ක්ලාස් එකෙන් පස්සේ මැසේජ් එකක් දාන්න. හරිද? අද අලුතෙන් ආව අය මේ ක්ලාස් එකෙන් පස්සේ මට මැසේජ් එකක් දාන්න ඔය ගෲප් එකට ඇඩ් වෙලා නැත්තම්. හරිද? පුළුවන් නම් දැම්මම දාන්න මට WhatsApp මැසේජ් එකක් මම දැන් ඇඩ් කරන්න. එතකොට මට ලේසි. Right, okay. දැන් ඇත්තටම මේ තාම මේ ලියන අය අතුස්සන්න බං. තාම ලියන අය ඉන්න. ආව ගෙටක් ගල්ලිය. Right, okay. දැන් මේ දැන් ඇත්තටම මට ගොඩක් කාලෙක ඉඳලා මේ ආසාවක් තිබ්බා මේ මෙහෙම full time online class එකක් කරන්න. මම ඇත්තටම මුලින්ම ඔයාලා දන්නේ නැහැනේ නේ. You don't know. When I was starting classes, I did classes like this, but not by using the smart boards and this kind of technology, right? Whiteboard එකක් ගහගෙන පොඩියට පටන් ගත්තා. පටන් අරගෙන මේ මට තාම මතකයි මේ මගේ කියන්නේ day 1 එකේ මම මුලින්ම online class එක පටන් ගද්දී only 2 students came to the class. They were twins from the same home, right? They were twins, Hajara and Hafsa. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ names දෙක මට තාම මතකයි, Hajara and Hafsa, right? Hajara or Hafsa, so I can't pronounce well, I think the Hajara and Hafsa. Oh, එතකොට මම මේ එදා ඒ ළමයි දෙන්නෙක් හිටපු හින්දා මට හින disappointed බං හින අවුල් ගිහිල්ලා මේ ඊට පස්සේ මම මේ ක්ලාස් එක නවත්තලා නිදා ගන්න හැදුවා මම. ඊට පස්සේ මට වයිෆ් තමයි කිව්වේ මේ එහෙම එපා ඔයාට හිමීට ළමයි එයි එක්කෙනා එහෙම කියලා මම ඊට පස්සේ එදා ක්ලාස් එක කරා මම. So I did the class that day. After doing that class, so I did the classes like this, full time online, but after some time when so at that time my physical classes were expanded a lot. මගේ physical class ගොඩක් ඒතකොට develop වුණා. ඒතකොට මම decide කරා මගේ physical class එකම stream කරා. හැබැයි එහෙම කරාට මට ඇත්තටම එහෙන ආසාවක් තිබ්බා මෙහෙම ගෙදර ස්ටුඩියෝ එකක් හදලා මේක ලස්සනට කරගෙන යන්න. දැන් ඉතින් අර ඒ dream එක came true ඇත්තටම. ඒ නිසා දැන් අපි ගොඩක් ළමයි අපෙන් අහනවා මේ සර් වෙනම ඔන්ලයින් එකක් කරනවද එහෙම කියලා ගොඩක් අය අහනවා. මේ ඒකින්ද ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන්න ඕන දේ මෙච්චරයි. ඒකෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ යාළුවෝ ඉන්නවා නම් කියන්න. Osanda sir, right? Osanda sir started a separate business studies full time online class, right? Next level online class, right? And from the next week onwards we are going to stream some videos as well for your reference, right? We are going to stream some videos as well. එනිසා කියන්නේ යාළුවන්ට අපේ class එක ගැන, right? So I am not doing this kind of request from you, but මම අද first day හින්දා කියනවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ යාළුවන්ට කියන්න අපි මෙහෙම class එකක් start කරා කියලා යාළුවන්ට කියන්න invite කරන්න අපේ class එකත් එක්ක team EconBiz එකත් එක්ක join වෙන්න කියලා. හරි? right. support එක දෙනවනේ? fit right? okay. right. thumbs up. right. great. okay. now write down the next one. Before writing down, I will write like this a sentence. I will write a sentence like this. Okay, look at this. Sole proprietorships not having a legal personality, not having a legal personality. Sole proprietorships not having a legal personality. Hope you have heard this one, but if you didn't hear this one, it's okay, right? Sole proprietorships not having a legal personality. Sole proprietorships or a legal personality එකක් නැහැලු, right? okay, now we are going to explain that one, so please write down in your writing books, everyone. Come on, everyone, write down. explaining the not having legal personality concept. Explaining not having legal personality concept. Explaining not having legal personality concept explaining not having legal personality concept through sole proprietorships. Through sole proprietorships in your writing books. Write down through sole proprietorships. Everyone should keep a writing book, separate writing book, CR book, 200 pages, single rule. And we will provide the tudes to your doorstep. So like that we are giving a lot of benefits for you. Some students ask from me, so raise your hands the students who are coming to my Econ online as well. Who are coming to my Econ online as well? Econ online? You guys are coming to my Econ online? Okay. So Econ online එකකුත් මේ වගේ කරමුද? මේ වගේ කරමුද Econ online එක? chat එකේ දා? In the separate studio? Econ online එකකුත් කරමුද? chat එකේ දාන්න බා. එපා? එපාලු? one student is එපාලු. right. Now guys, I am going to explain not having legal personality concept in a sole proprietorship. We are saying that sole proprietorships are not having a legal personality. Okay. Now there is a person called Sahan. There is a person called Sahan. Sahan is there. Sahan has a business called Sahan Printers. Sahan has a business called Sahan Printers. Sahan has a business called Sahan Printers. Then in one day you will also starting sole proprietorships. Once you started a particular business lamai, any kind of business, you have to face for different legal activities. Legal activities means what? You have to enter into the agreements, you have to obtain bank loans, you have to purchase motor vehicles through leasing, right? You have to file the cases at court. Like that, you have to involve in different legal activities as a businessman. Businessman කෙනෙක් විදිහට මේ normal විදිහට goods ටික විකුණ එහෙම ඉඳලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ, right? So as a businessman, you have to face for different legal activities. The thing you have to understand is what? When you are involving in these legal activities, guys, you can't use the name of the business. You can't use ඔයා මේ legal activities වලට enter වෙද්දී business එකේ name එක use කරන්න බෑ, because sole proprietorships don't have a legal personality. When you are involved in legal activities, you have to use the full name of the owner, the name of the owner. The name of the owner you have to use. When you are involving into legal activities, you can't use the name of the business and you have to use the name of the owner. So that is called as what? Sole proprietorships not having a legal personality, and this is also a disadvantage. ඇයිද මොන legal activity එක කරත් ඔයාගේ personal නමනේ ගෑවෙන්නේ. ඔයාට ඔයාගේ business එකේ නම පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ. දැන් හිතන්න ඔයා sole proprietorship එකක් start කරා කියලා හෙට. ඔයා යනවා නඩුවක් දාන්න. ඔයාගේ business එකට ආපු customer කෙනෙක් ඔයාට කනට ගහලා ගිහිල්ලා. ඔයා නඩුවක් දාන්න යනවා court එකට. ඔයා නඩුව දාද්දි ඔයාට ඔයාගේ personal name එකෙන් තමයි දාන්න වෙන්නේ. You can't use the name of the business. ඒක business එක related වුණාට වැඩක් නැහැ. Okay, right, like this is the not having legal personality. Sole proprietorships cannot use their business name for the legal activities. They have to use the name of the person. Raise your hands if you perfectly understood and start to note this down. Raise your hands, everyone. So online class students, raise your hands. Rochelle, Gauri, Shadunya, Pasindu, Akarsha, Hishma, Shifara, Kenodya, Adib, Ayush, Yasit, Rayandi, Yetmi, Tisa, Andrew, Shehnaz, Nirushi, Diniti, Jinuki, Pavan, Pinipa, Shima, Tahani. Raise your hands if you understood perfectly. Okay, right. So everyone write this down. Okay, done. So that is about the not having a legal personality. Right. Now let's learn another part. So that is sole proprietorships are not mandatory to register. Sole proprietorships are not mandatory to register. Sole proprietorship එකක් register කරන එක අනිවාර්ය නෑ. Listen. Now there is a person called Sahan Pereira. Sahan Pereira starting a business. The business name is also Sahan Pereira. That means Sahan Pereira using his full name as his business name. In this kind of scenario, sole proprietorships are not mandatory to register. In this scenario, sole proprietorships are not mandatory register, not mandatory to register. Okay, not mandatory to register. Sahan Pereira starting a business called Sahan Pereira. Next one. However, Sahan Pereira starting a business called Sahan Printers. Sahan Printers. Sahan Pereira starting a business called Sahan Printers. So at that time, Sahan Pereira is not using his full name as his business name. දැන් එතනදී Sahan Pereira යාගේ සම්පූර්ණම නම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ business name එක විදියට. එහෙනම් at this situation it is mandatory to register. 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 එහෙනම් ඔයගෙන් දැන් පොඩි කවුරු හරි මල්ලි කෙනෙක් හරි නංගි කෙනෙක් හරි ඇවිල්ලා ඇහුවොත් එහෙම sole proprietorship එකක් register කරන එක mandatory ද කියලා you have to say no. It is not mandatory to register the sole proprietorship. Why is that? If the owner is using his full name as the business name, it is not mandatory to register. However, if the owner is using a different name for his business, then it is mandatory to register. දැන් කිරිබත්ගොඩ ක්ලාස් එකේ ළමෙක් ඇහුවා මේ සර් දැන් මේකේ මේ සහන් පෙරේරා සහන් ප්‍රින්ටර්ස් රෙජිස්ටර් කරන්න ඕනේනේ. සර් ඒතකොට සහන් පෙරේරා එයාගේ බිස්නස් එකට දැම්මොත් සහන් පෙරේරා ප්‍රින්ටර්ස් කියලා ඒත් රෙජිස්ටර් කරන්න ඕනේ. එද සහන් පෙරේරා ප්‍රින්ටර්ස්. ද සහන් පෙරේරා ප්‍රින්ටර්ස් කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ ෆුල් නේම් එක නෙමෙයිනේ. ප්‍රින්ටර්ස් කියලා ගැල්ලන් නමේ තිබ්බේ නැහැනේ. Did you understand? Like that. And if anyone asking from you, is it mandatory to register a sole proprietorship? Your answer should be no. Your answer should be no. Your answer should be no. ඔයාගේ answer එක වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ කියන එක. Right? Your answer should be no. Register කරන එක mandatory නැහැ. Why is that? Owner can use his full name as his business name, then no need to register. But if the owner is having an intention to use a different name than the full name, then it is mandatory to register. Raise your hands if you perfectly understood and start to note this down. And start to note this down, everyone. Okay, note this down. So we have to complete until the disadvantages of the sole proprietorships today. Sir, what is the heading we have to write before drawing this? So write this same one, Gauri. Sole proprietorships are not mandatory to register කියලා දාලා ලිය. Right, okay. Now let's go to the tute. Now let's go to the tute, everyone. In your tute, come to the page number 4. Right, page number 4. Okay, let's go. Sole proprietorship. Where the ownership of the business is held by a single individual, it is called a sole proprietorship. Chanuli Super Center, Dasata Bookshop. Dasata Bookshop. Okay. Characteristics of a sole proprietorship. So what are the characteristics? The owner provides the capital required on his own. Owner තමයි capital එක දාන්නේ because there is only one owner නේ. So thereby owner should invest the capital. All managerial decisions are made by the owner. So in most of the sole proprietorships, all the management decisions are also taken by the owner. But with the expansion of the business, they can recruit a manager from outside. However, most of the sole proprietorships, managerial decisions are taken by the owner owner itself, right? There is an unlimited liability of the owner, right? In a sole proprietorship, the owner's liability is unlimited. Accordingly, please highlight this one. The liability is not limited only for the capital that had been invested. Very important. Very important. The liability is not limited only to the capital that have been invested. In order to settle the liabilities of the business, the owner might require to use his properties external to the business, and there is no limit for such commitment. Not a legal entity. Lamai, here please write down. Not a legal entity means what? No legal personality. Write that one also. No legal personality, as I taught you earlier. No legal personality. No legal personality. A sole proprietorship cannot conduct any legal operations by its business name. It can do so only by the personal name of the owner. For example, entering into contracts, purchase of vehicles, obtaining bank loan, filing cases should be done in the personal name of the owner. Registration is not compulsory. Registration is not compulsory. In general, it is not mandatory to register a sole proprietorship. It is not mandatory to register a sole proprietorship. But in case the owner is carrying out his or her business without using the full name, it should be registered. Owner is carrying out his or her business without using the full name, it should be registered. Enjoying profits and losses alone. ඉන්න එක අයිතිකාරයයි. එතකොට ප්‍රොෆිට් එකක් આવොත් ඒකත් එයාට විතරයි අයිති. ලොස් එකක් આવොත් ඒකත් එයාට විතරයි අයිති. Facing the risk alone. risk එකක් આવොත් ඒකත් තනියම තමයි බෙයා කරන්න වෙන්නේ. No continuity. No continuity. Due to such reasons as the death of the owner, අයිතිකාරයා මැරුණොත්, being mentally unsound. Mentally unsound කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ට්‍රක් එක පයින්නවා. ට්‍රක් පයින්නවා අයිතිකාරයාට. අයිතිකාරයා කඩේක බුදලාලි කෙනෙක් රුපියල් 1000ක් දීලා හාල් කිලෝ 5ක් ගත්තා මිනිස්සෙක් හාල් කිලෝ 5ත් එක්ක ආයෙත් රුපියල් 1000 දෙනවා අනිත් පැත්තට. ට්‍රක් පැනලා mentally unsound. එහෙම වුණොත් එහෙම business operations of a sole proprietorship will be discontinued. No continued existence. No continued existence. Business activities are being what? Discontinued. Discontinued. Accounting is not compulsory. Maintaining financial statements are not required. Not compulsory in sole proprietorships. Not liable for the taxes in the name of the business. මෙන්න මේක සමහර ළමයි වැරදියට හිතනවා. ළමයි හිතනවා මේ 10 වෙනි එකේ තියෙන්නේ sole proprietorships taxes ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නෑ කියලා. වැරදි. Sole proprietorships taxes ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. මොන වෙයින්ද? Not liable for the taxes in the name of the business. Taxes ගෙවන්න ඕනේ කාගේ name එකෙන්ද? කාගේ name එකෙන්ද? Business name එකෙන් නෙමෙයි personal name එකෙන්. So according to our example, Sahan Pereira ගේ business එක Sahan printers නේ. Sahan printers එකට tax ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. හැබැයි ගෙවන්න ඕනේ කාගේ name එකෙන්ද? Sahan Pereira ගේ name එකෙන්. From the name of the Sahan Pereira, right? So that's the thing. Not liable for the taxes in the name of the business. Right. So let's go to the advantages and disadvantages. Let's go to the advantages and disadvantages. Right, so you can clearly see now the advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Right. So what are the advantages of the sole proprietorships? If you started a business tomorrow, as the one single owner, you are doing a sole proprietorship now. So what are the advantages? Easy to initiate. Patan ganna lazy. Very easy to start. If you want to start a sole proprietorship today, you can start. No need to ask from anyone. All the profits belong to the owner. All the profits belong to the owner. All the profits belong to the owner. There is only one owner. If there is a profit, all the things belongs to that owner. Ability of independent decision making. So you have a freedom to make your decisions. No one else is involving. Independent. Fewer rules and regulations. So very few rules and regulations are applied. Very few rules and regulations are applied. Very few rules and regulations are fewer rules and regulations. Then in the sole proprietorships, most of the sole proprietorships are very small scale, small businesses, right? So thereby very few rules and regulations are applied. The ability of keeping the business information confidentially, secretly. There is only one owner, no? So you can keep your secrets confidentially. තනියම ඉද්දි වඩ රහස් තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් යාළුවෝ ඉද්දි බෑනේ. දැන් යාළුවට ඔයා කියනවා මචං මම ඔයාලට දෙයක් කියන්නම් කාටවත් කියන්න එපා හරිද? ඊපස්සේ එයා එක "ඔව් මචං හරි මම කාටවත් කියන්නේ දන්නවනේ මගේ හැටි" කියලා. එයා ඊට තව few minutes later තව යාළුවෙක් හමුනම මචං දන්නවද වැඩක් කියලා අර කියනවා. Right? So thereby there is only one owner. If there is only one owner, can keep the business information confidentially. Termination is convenient. You can start conveniently as well as you can stop the business very easily. You are the single owner. Maintaining a direct relationship with customers, control is convenient. Now, disadvantages. Unlimited liability of the owner. If you can't pay off your debt, you have to bring your personal properties and pay off. That is a disadvantage. Difficult to raise funds. So what is the meaning of this one? දැන් ඔන්න මම පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහනවා chat එකේ දාන්න ඕනේ. ඔන්න බැංක් එකකට යනවා ලෝන් එකක් ගන්න දෙන්නෙක්. එක්කෙනෙක් තමයි ඔයාලා ගෙවල් ගාව කඩේ මුදලාලි. අනිත් එක්කෙනා ඔඩෙල් එක. බැංක් එක මුලින්ම ලෝන් එක ඉක්මනටම දෙන්න try කරන්නේ කාටද? බැංක් එකෙන් ලෝන් එක ගන්න ඊසි කාටද? ඔඩෙල් එකටද මුදලාලිටද? දාන්න chat එකේ. ඔඩෙල් එකටද ලේසි? මුදලාලිටද ලේසි? ඔඩෙල් එකටද ලේසි? මුදලාලිටද ලේසි? ඔඩෙල්. Yes. ඇයි? Then I told you that sole proprietorships are not required to maintain the accounting, no. Accounting maintain කරන එක අනිවාර්ය නෑනේ sole proprietorships වලට. එතකොට දැන් බැංක් එකට බලන්න දේවල් නෑ sole proprietorship එකේ. දැන් බැංක් එකක් loan එකක් දෙන්න කලින් evaluate කරන්න ඕනේනේ ඒ businessmanව. Bank need to evaluate that businessman. So thereby bank will ask, so give your financial statements, set of financial statements to us. Sole proprietorships අහන්න පුළුවන්. So what is financial statement? We didn't hear that. අදම යහුවේ. Like that. But Odell, they are maintaining their financial records properly. Not only that. So once they prepare the financial statements, those financial statements will be audited. by the independent auditors. So thereby banks are having a strong trust on whom? Companies. But sole proprietorships වලින් loan එකක් දෙන්න ගිහිල්ලා financial statements ඇහුවොත් they don't have those. They don't have enough things. So thereby these sole proprietorships are facing for a difficulty when obtaining loans, when raising money. Possibility of the decisions made by the owner being unsuccessful. පණ්ඩිතයා වගේ ගන්නවා independent decisions, ගන්න decision එක ටක් ගාලා unsuccessful. තනියම తీරනවා. දැන් ගෙවල් වල කට්ටියටත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ සද්ද දදා ඉන්නේ නේ. අනේ අම්මේ මේ අපිට කියන්න එපා. අපි දන්නවා ඔක්කොම. තාත්තේ මේ සද්ද යන්පා. මම තමයි ඔක්කොම දන්නේ. මම තමයි ලෝඩ් කියලා නේ. ඊට පස්සේ අන්තිම decision අරගෙන නේ හත් පොලේ ගාගෙන අන්තිමට අම්මලාව බදාගෙන අඬනවා. Not a legal entity, no legal personality. That is a disadvantage. You have to use your personal name for every legal activity. No continuity. No continuity. No continuity. ඔයා මැරුණොත්, if you are being mentally unsound, business operations will be stopped. So that is the nature of the sole proprietorship. දැන් එක දවසක් එක ළමෙක් කිව්වා සර් මේ අපේ ගෙවල් ගාව මුදලාලි කෙනෙක් හිටියා එයා මැරුණා. එයා මැරුණාම එයාගේ පුතා ඒ කඩේ කරගෙන ගියානේ සර්. එතකොට I think continued existence එකක් තියෙනවනේ සර්. නෑනේ දැන් මුදලාලි මැරුණාම මුදලාලිගේ මිනිහ ගේ ඇතුලේ තියාගෙන හරිද බොඩි එක ගේ ඇතුලේ තියාගෙන කඩේ බඩු දුන්නේ නෑනේ. මුදලාලි මැරුණාම business operation stop වෙනවා. ටික දවසකට පස්සේ පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. කවුරු හරි වෙන එක්කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා. Did you understand? ownership එක change වෙනවා. මුදලාලිගේ කඩේ එතනින් ඉවරයි. මුදලාලි මැරුණා. business operations will be stopped. හැබැයි ඔඩෙල් එකේ shareholder කෙනෙක් මැරුණා කියලා ඔඩෙල් එක වහනවද? නෑ. Companies are having continued existence. So let's discuss those things when we are doing incorporated companies. Sole proprietorships don't have continued existence. Management being inconvenient when expanding and bearing losses alone. If there is a profit, that belongs to the owner completely, as well as if there is a loss, that is also completely owned by the owner. So these are the disadvantages. Right. So today we have discussed what? Today we have discussed business organizations. So we learned what is an organization, and we learned what is a business organization, and we learned classification of business organizations based on the ownership, and we learned about sole proprietorship characteristics. We learned about advantages of the sole proprietorships, disadvantages of the sole proprietorships. Especially we learned about unlimited liability concept of sole proprietorships, no legal personality of sole proprietorships, and not mandatory to register of the sole proprietorships. So those were the important things we have discussed today. එතකොට අපිට next week එකේ තියෙන registration of sole proprietorships learn කරලා, so we are going to start the partnerships in the next week. So those were the things we have discussed today. Hope you enjoyed today's lesson, right? So inform about our classes to your friends, inform them we have started full-time online classes for business studies, right? And we are going to bring this class to a next level by streaming videos and everything, right? So as the best class in Sri Lanka, so we are going to give the best for you. So thank you so much everyone. So let me know your feedbacks after the class through WhatsApp, right? So I'm eagerly waiting to read your feedbacks through the WhatsApp. So thank you so much everyone. Thank you. Good night.